Gateway project, I end up in Delta and Surrey and Langley a lot of the time, and I often find myself right here on these trails just trying to get away from all the concrete and sort of look at what it is that we're trying to protect. When people think about the Gateway project, they often think about the Port Mann Bridge, and I, like many of you, have been frustrated, stuck in traffic on that Port Mann Bridge. And I think people ask me often, the Wilderness Committee, we're used to you going into an old growth forest somewhere and drawing a line around what it is that you're trying to protect, and building a trail, and being involved in trying to protect these ancient forests and these sacred places. They really don't understand why we're concerned about the Gateway project. Because you don't really see it when you look at the Port Mann Bridge. You don't really see what's at stake. So I think it's really important that we're here today because this is what you should think about when you think about the Gateway project. It's these places. I mean, when you're walking over that Alex Fraser Bridge and you look out at that massive green space, it's not just this nature reserve, but this whole area is bogland and farmland and some of the most valuable wilderness that we've got left in this region. And the Gateway project isn't just this bridge. It's actually the floodgates that open up when you expand that bridge. And it's what happens when you build highways instead of putting in the kind of smart growth transit infrastructure that respects our farmland, that makes our communities livable, and that really makes this region the place that we want it to be. So I ask you to think when you talk about the Gateway project with your friends, or when you talk about the twinning of the Port Mann Bridge, or you talk about the South Fraser Perimeter Road, tell them about this place. Remind them how important these spaces are, because this is really what's at stake. The Gateway project is a plan for the development of our entire region, and it's also the plan for how we're going to expand our trade with the Asia-Pacific region. It's a plan to export more and more of our oil from the tar sands to China and India and elsewhere, and it's a plan to bring in more and more disposable goods from overseas. And I, for one, think that this model of economic development is not working for us, and we're really reaching the limits of what our Earth can handle, both ecologically, and also we're seeing the failings of it in terms of an economic system. So I think we're really at a watershed moment, so to speak, right now, where we can either take really positive steps in the right direction and try to imagine how we can build our relationships with the rest of the world and how we can develop this region so that we can accommodate the million or so some odd people that we're expecting to move here in the next 10 or 20 years. And there's a really big choice ahead of us. Do we want to protect places like this? Do we want to continue to exploit the natural and human resources overseas as well as right here at home? And that's what the Gateway project's really all about. So I think it's just absolutely fantastic that we're all here, because it shows what's at stake. It's the longest standing tradition, I think, of the Wilderness Committee, is that we try to get people out to the places that are at risk so that they can see and experience for themselves what's important. And you can then, when you're thinking about the project, you're thinking about these campaigns, it's not just this theoretical thing. It's not just about ideas about what smart growth looks like. It's not just about the idea of protecting the lungs of the Lower Mainland, but it's actually experiencing it in that visceral way. So I'm just absolutely thrilled to be here with all of you, and I thank you so much for taking the time out of your weekend and out of your busy lives to come here and experience this place. So I just want to make you aware of a couple different things that are going on. First of all, if you're interested in getting more information, there's always a ton of stuff going on related to the Gateway project. Anybody who doesn't know Carmen Mills over there, Carmen runs a really good list, gatewaysucks.org. If you go to her website, you can subscribe to her mailing list.
Hey, Carmen.
And pretty much every event that goes on related to the Gateway project ends up on that list. So if you want to stay informed, that's a good way to know. But there's also just some very specific things.
Email info@gatewaysucks.org.
Info@gatewaysucks.org.